Are you ready to take your physique and your arm wrestling strength to the next level? In this video, I'll share the exact plan I used to get in the best shape of my life and win a national arm wrestling title completely for free. If you just discovered arm wrestling and want to get stronger quickly, or if you're an intermediate arm wrestler and feel stuck, or if you're a gym bro and want to try some arm wrestling exercises on the side so you can beat your friends, this plan has got you covered. So I'm 10 years into lifting and 5 years into arm wrestling, and I never really found a way to combine the two in a way that makes sense and works for me. Until I met one of the best 80 kg arm wrestlers of India, Tejas Gopi, who designed this 4-day hybrid plan that combines both classic strength exercises and arm wrestling specific work, so it'll both build muscle and arm wrestling strength. And the best part is it can be done in any commercial gym. Now, I personally paid for this plan, but with Tejas' permission, I'm making it free for you so you can benefit from it just like I did. I don't want to dive too deep into the technical aspect of arm wrestling on this channel. If that's something you're interested in, I would highly recommend you to check out my friend Daniel's channel. He has got some amazing free information and he also offers coaching. But I feel like I have to make this video because so many of you asked for it in the comments. Before I show you the plan, some important information so you can get the most out of this video. So keep in mind, this plan was written for me and tailored to my specific weaknesses, which are the latissimus and teres major muscles, as well as back pressure, rising and pronation strength. That being said, it's still a very complete program in my opinion that you can follow as it is, or use it as inspiration and adapt it according to your needs. It's got a lot of volume and high intensity, so it's great if you're serious about getting stronger. If you want your own fully customized plan from Tejas, you can DM him on Instagram. For some exercises, you will need a regular martial arts belt as well as some handles. I'm personally using the WristMax and the Conic handle from wristball.net, as well as a multi-spinner and a wrist wrench that I made myself. I'll put the links in the description. Now, the wrist ball handles are beautiful, they basically last forever, and I think they're a great investment if you're into arm wrestling. But don't worry if you don't want to commit that hard right now, you can make your own DIY versions of those. There are tutorials on YouTube on how you can make your own wrist wrench and multi-spinner with stuff from your local hardware store. The Conic handle can be replaced by a regular spinning handle or even by a regular gym handle that you put a fat grip around. And the WristMax can be replaced by a piece of wood that you put your belt around like this. Imagine this is the wood. So it attacks your fingers, or you drill holes into it and attach a strap so it becomes a proper handle. The plan only tells you the number of reps. You pick the weight yourself. So if it says 8 reps, for instance, you pick a weight that you can do 8 clean reps with before your form breaks down. So that means that every set, except for the warm-up sets, should be taken to technical failure. However, if you're a beginner, don't do it like that, but instead leave 2 to 3 reps in the tank on every exercise. Learn the movement patterns properly. Same goes if you're coming back from a break, if you're just starting a preparation cycle, if you're an older athlete, or if you're doing a lot of table time. The goal isn't to move around big weights, but to use clean form and slowly progress from week to week. That's not only safer, but also much more satisfying. If you ever feel a dull pain or stiffness during an exercise, it's usually okay to keep going, but only with a weight that doesn't make it worse. But if you feel a sharp pain, never push through it. It won't make you stronger. You will just risk injury, but instead skip the exercise completely or use much less weight so it becomes just a light blood flow exercise, and consider doing more reps with that to help aid recovery. Always listen to your body. Try to incrementally increase the weights every single week. If you can't progress, then decrease the weights and or look at your nutrition and recovery habits. Okay, enough talking, let's get into the plan. So the first exercise of the first day is a cupping and dragging movement with the cone handle from a high attachment point. If you can do this with an arm wrestling table, it's even better. I'm using these jumping boxes because the height of the pulley that I'm using is not adjustable. You want to simulate an arm wrestling starting position with a straight wrist, then drag your elbow back, engaging the lat and cup in all the way at the same time. Great exercise for hook initiation strength, for taking your opponent's pronation and getting on their biceps. It's a great cupping movement that puts extra emphasis on your lower 2 fingers, but if you're using a regular spinning handle or a fat grip, it works as well. For your warm-up sets, you want to pick a weight that challenges you but doesn't fatigue you. I use about 40% of my 1 rep max, so the weight I can do exactly once. And then after that you do 3 sets of 8 and 2 sets of 6. The next exercise trains rising, so you tie a knot in your belt like this and then wrap it like that. I think that's also the way Devon wraps it. Then you wrap your fingers around your thumb and close your fist. Now, this is my favorite rising exercise. A strong riser will help you get the upper hand in arm wrestling. It's extremely important. This exercise beautifully connects your riser with your back, so you're using the whole movement chain. You want to start with a straight wrist or even a slightly bent back wrist to make sure you hit your riser muscles properly. Then you lock your riser completely and you drag your elbow back without losing your riser. Don't let your riser budge even a little. If it does, then use less weight. You won't be able to do much weight that way, but that's okay. Just start light. Do one warm-up set and then 3 sets of 4 and 3 sets of 3. The next exercise is a great upper back mass builder, the unilateral pull-down machine. Do a warm-up set of 12 reps, then 4 sets of 8. And in the last 2 sets, hold the lowest part of the movement for 5 seconds on each rep. That's super hard, but in my experience, it has worked really well for upper back strength and size. I use lifting straps for this because my grip gives out before my back does, so you lose some gains. So I would recommend you to use them as well. For the general strength exercises like this one, which are not arm wrestling specifics, you want to keep your eccentric phases, so the second part of the movement, slow and controlled. That's safer and will yield more muscle growth. You can even hold it at the top for a few seconds and feel the stretch in your lats. High tension in a stretched position is a great stimulus for muscle growth. Next we got the one arm seated row. Great movement for rowing strength, which is essential in arm wrestling. It'll hit your upper back and especially teres major if done correctly, which is important for keeping tight angles in a match. Keep your upper body as straight as possible, so don't lean back to avoid using momentum, but to hit the back instead. Next are incline dumbbell biceps curls, full range. By doing it on an incline bench, you increase tension on the biceps in a stretched out position. Supinate during the concentric phase to target your biceps more effectively and return to a neutral position on the way down. Now, very important, your upper arm should stay in place while going up to avoid cheating with the front delt. I'm already cheating a bit too much here. And keep it slow and controlled on the way down to maximize effectiveness and minimize risk of injury. Don't swing the weight unless you know what you're doing and you want to squeeze out some more reps at the end of the set. The next exercise is one that isolates pronation. Pronation is very essential for any style of arm wrestling. Put the belt around your thumb like this and loop the other end of the belt around a kettlebell or a weight plate. Start in a supinated position, then pronate through the thumb. Keep your wrist as straight as possible. A slightly cupped position is okay to stay in a biomechanically safe position. And start with a small weight to avoid wrist problems. If it still gives you wrist issues, then you can do this variation instead. Now the last exercise for this day is a dumbbell reverse wrist curl. I took the liberty of adding these to the plan following my friend Daniel's recommendation. It's for balancing out all of the cupping work, and it'll also help build rising power by strengthening your wrist extensors. Okay, the second day starts with the pronation drag lift. Again, if you can, you want to do this on an arm wrestling table. If not, you want to replicate it as well as possible. So you loop the belt around your thumb, firmly close your fingers around your thumb, creating a fist. Drag your elbow back without losing your pronation, engaging your latissimus and pectoral muscle. Again, keep your wrist straight in the starting position. It's okay to slightly cup in during the movement, but if you're cupping in from the start, you're using too much weight. Next, we got a brutal pure wrist flexion exercise. Having a strong wrist will protect you against getting top rolled, and this exercise will make your wrist bulletproof if you get strong at it. So we're using a T-bar row setup. Put your forearm on your thigh, creating a 45-degree angle between your forearm and the floor, and then wrist curl the end of the bar. Start every rep with a straight or slightly bent back wrist. It's a great cupping exercise that will give you steel wrists. Remember to go slow on the eccentric so your wrist doesn't get extended too much. After that, we got a basic shoulder strength builder, the seated dumbbell shoulder press. Strong shoulders help increase joint stability and reduce risk of injury while arm wrestling, and they look good. I've never had any shoulder issues, and I'm convinced it's because I've always done heavy shoulder pressing exercises like this one or the overhead press. Make sure you go down far enough. You can even touch your shoulders on this one to get a nice stretch, but only if it doesn't give you any discomfort or pain. Next up are lateral dumbbell raises to hit those side delts. Now these respond well to higher rep ranges, so I do 12 reps. With lighter weight and strict form, you can keep the tension on the side delts. So keep a small angle in your arm and avoid using momentum. Last shoulder exercise is a machine reverse fly to target the rear delts and scapular retractors. A strong posterior shoulder improves posture on the table and helps stabilize the scapula. Having stability there also helps reducing stress on the rotator cuffs and can improve pulling mechanics. Next is another rising exercise, but this time a dynamic variation. See, that's why I love this plan so much, because it's so well rounded. You got both static and dynamic rising and pronation exercises, so you get the best of both worlds. A lot of people will do just one or the other, but I believe combining both will give you the best results. The rep is the same as in the rising exercise on day one, but this time you put your forearm in a horizontal position and work against gravity. You don't want to go all the way down on this one, otherwise you will put your wrist in a vulnerable position and it just becomes unnecessarily heavy. We're finishing day 2 with a shrug exercise. I'm using the standing calf machine for that. A strong trapezius prevents your shoulder from being dragged forward by an opponent. It helps maintain structural integrity in defensive positions. So same setup as when you're training calves, but instead of moving your feet, you just pull your shoulders up using your trapezius muscle. I'm using this one because it's comfortable and easy to set up, but you can do any other shrug variation that you like. Day 3 starts with a dumbbell partial preacher curl. Now this is a bread and butter exercise that I really believe in. I think it's extremely effective for strength in a hook, and it's what helped me overpower everyone in the national championship, if done correctly. I've been doing it wrong for years, but I finally figured out how to do it. So the trick is to use a very steep angle. As you can see, I set the bench almost vertical. That way it'll really target your elbow flexors. Otherwise, you can just rock the weight up using momentum, which looks cool because you can use a lot more weight that way, but it doesn't transfer well to arm wrestling strength. So it's a partial curl. You go down until your forearm is parallel to the floor. And while going down, you want to cup in your wrist to simulate a hook. So as I said, it's an awesome exercise in my opinion for building brute hooking strength and strong elbows. If you lean more sideways, it'll target your elbow and passive structures more. And if you do it more from an upright position, it'll target your elbow flexors more. So that's the preferred option if you have any elbow pain. If you have any elbow pain, be really careful with this one. Second exercise is a neutral grip weighted pull-up. Of course, if you can't do it weighted, then just use your body weight or even use assistance and work your way up. It's a nice compound exercise that develops the upper back, lats, biceps, and brachialis. For this one, you want to actively squeeze your shoulder blades together and down to engage the upper back more, and try to use your back instead of your arms when you pull yourself up. I've never focused on this before, but Tejas made me aware of it, and it made me really feel the muscles between my shoulder blades working. Having a strong upper back is very important in arm wrestling because it'll help you keep your angles tight and transfer power into your arm more efficiently. On the last set, hold the final rep until muscular failure to create a stronger training stimulus. Next is a great exercise for finger and cupping strength, the wrist wrench curl-in. This one will really build your forearm flexors. Make sure you have your wrist wrench set up correctly. The straps have to be on the correct side so it attacks your fingers. Now I like doing it on the floor like this, but you can also set it up on the rowing machine. The way I'm doing it here, by pushing my elbow against my knee and moving slightly sideways during the movement, I'm combining the cupping motion with some side pressure, which I think fits my arm wrestling style. But if you want to isolate cupping and fingers more, then just use less weight and stay in line with the cable instead of going sideways like I am. The fourth exercise is a barbell bench press, a classic mass builder for the upper body. I enjoy doing it, but if it bothers your shoulders, you can switch to dumbbells instead. Make sure to keep a slight arch in your back and pull your shoulder blades down and together. This creates a safer position and lets your chest do more of the work.
What you need to do is, you need to get the pump. This is the only way to get 23-inch biceps and to win the Mr. Olympia competition 7 times.
Next is the incline dumbbell press, which targets the upper fibers of the chest. Using dumbbells helps prevent disbalances and allows for a deeper stretch at the bottom. Just like before, keep your shoulder blades pulled together and down to protect the shoulder joints and focus the work on your pecs. To finish off the chest, we're doing a machine chest fly. Keep your arms slightly bent and add a short pause both at the front and the back of the movement. Focus on keeping the tension in your chest the whole time. Keep the eccentric slow and controlled while feeling the stretch in your chest. Next is another lat exercise, the one-arm lat pull-down. This movement lets you focus on each side individually, which helps fix imbalances and build a stronger mind-muscle connection. Go slow and controlled on the way up while feeling the stretch in your lat for a stronger hypertrophic stimulus. The last pushing exercise is a cable overhead triceps extension. I added this to the plan because I wanted one triceps isolation exercise for completeness. You can also do a different triceps exercise of your choice, like a triceps pushdown with a rope or V-handle, or rotate between them. I like this one because it hits the long head of the triceps really well. Keep your elbows tucked in a bit more than me here, and as always, go slow on the eccentric and feel the stretch in your triceps. First exercise of day 4 is the full range dumbbell hammer curl. This is one of the best ways to build the brachialis, which directly adds to your back pressure strength on the table. Keep your upper arm locked on your side to avoid cheating. If you lean forward slightly, you can increase time under tension and emphasize the top range of the movement, which matters most for arm wrestling. Next is the low cup multispinner. This is an exercise that will elevate your hooking strength and ability to initiate a hook to the next level. Here's how you wrap it for this exercise. So you hold your multispinner like this, then wrap it around your wrist and then around the bottom part of the multispinner so the strap emerges at the height of your pinky finger or slightly below. Use a high attachment point. Begin in an arm wrestling starting position with your wrist straight. Then drag your elbow back and cup in at the same time. It's a great exercise that simulates arm wrestling in a strap really well. Third exercise is cupping with a wrist max handle. This handle targets your fingertips especially well, simulating the pressure of an opponent trying to top roll you. Slide your hand into it as far as possible, grip it firmly, and as you perform the movement, cup your wrist in while driving force through your fingertips. Start every rep with a straight or even slightly bent back wrist. If you need to start already cupped, the weight is too heavy. If you don't have this handle, you can replicate the movement by pinching a piece of wood or something similar with your fingers and thumb knuckle like this and put the belt around it. Either way, it's one of the best ways to build fingertip and cupping strength for arm wrestling. Next exercise is the high cup multispinner. Instead of targeting your lower fingers, this variation puts pressure into your index and middle finger while using pronation to stabilize the movement. The way you wrap it is similar to the first exercise, but this time, after putting the strap around the back of your wrist, you wrap it around the top of the multispinner, so it's positioned at the height of your index finger. Start with a straight wrist, then drag back and cup in at the same time, initiating the motion through the tips of your index and middle finger. This movement is often overlooked or neglected, but it's very essential because a strong high cupping helps you contain and shut down your opponent's riser, and that, in combination with your own riser being strong enough, is what wins you the upper hand in a top roll versus top roll scenario. Next is a classic arm wrestling lift, Devon Larratt's riser lift. Make a loop with your belt tied around a kettlebell or a weight plate, then put your hand through the loop, creating a fist around your thumb, and then position the belt directly over your thumb knuckle. Now, very important, your forearm has to be horizontal at the start of the movement. If you can't do it that way, the weight is too heavy. Use less weight. Kick your wrist back a little bit so you feel the movement in your riser muscles. That makes it even heavier, but it also makes it as precise as possible. Don't compare the weights you're using to others, but rather focus on strict form and feeling it in the right place. And the last exercise are full range dumbbell reverse wrist curls again, to balance out all of the cupping work and to strengthen your riser even further. Okay, that's it for the plan. If you're also doing table time, then you could train on Tuesday, Wednesday, take Thursday off and then train again Friday and Saturday and do table time on Sunday. If you're not doing any table time, then just spread out the 4 days throughout the week in a way that works for you. You probably noticed that there weren't any lower body exercises in the plan. That's because as an arm wrestler, if you're in a weight category, you don't really want a massive lower body. But if you want to add some leg training for health or aesthetics, then that's totally fine. In that case, I would just add 4 sets of squats on day 4 and optionally some leg curls and leg extensions. If you're using this plan to break through a plateau, then I would recommend doing it at least for 4 to 6 weeks to get good results. And if you want to run it long term, then definitely do a deload week every 4 to 6 weeks so your body can keep adapting. If you haven't yet watched the video where I became national champ, then definitely check that out. The final battle is really cinematic. So if you want to try the program, then all the best, have fun, stay safe, and let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.